let's face it, the real reason some of us buy knives is so we can open packages of other knives we buy. And then those knives open 3 other knives each. And then we have a math problem on our hands, and there's no way in hell you're learning anything from this channel. So let's give into our basest consumerist impulses and check out the Sprint Run Positron from Spyderco. The Positron is a Brad Souther design folder, and this version is an exclusive knife center offering because of its blade steel and the pretty shiny orange handle. You're like, shiny. This knife is pretty compact, so let's go over the dimensions, like the overall length. Not too long. Yep. Blade length. Cutting edge. A pause. And then the handle and handle grip area. The handle thickness, spine thickness, and the weight. And as you can see, unless you don't like facts, this is a smaller, lighter knife. Since this is a sprint run, it uses a different blade steel than the regular Positron. This uses CPM-S35VN, and the standard Positron with carbon fiber uses S30V. A sprint run is Spyderco's way of saying a limited variation of one of their regular old production knives. Now, S35VN is said to have more wear resistance than a standard S30V, provided you actually use the knife. The drop point satin finish blade is deployed by a thumb stud. The Positron's ball bearing flipping action is pretty flippin' smooth. Now, I don't own a lot of flippers, and most of the ones I own are cheap, so I don't have a lot of room to talk, but this one is much smoother, and even though the stud is small, you don't have to hit it with much force at all. Lock disengagement is kind of unrefined though on the Positron. It uses a liner lock that's nested pretty flush with the handle, so you kind of have to get your fingernail up in there to give it a good amount of pressure to disengage. You may break a nail trying to close this knife. I mean, it locks nice and firm, but it's a chore when you close it. Maybe if the liner part stuck out a little further it would help, but as it is, it's an awkward one-handed closer. Now, the knife is light, but it does have a skeletonized nested liner, which helps reduce weight, and the handle is pretty smooth all around. It's sort of unique because G10 isn't usually polished to this finish. It almost seems like fiberglass. There's a little texture if you look for it, but not a lot of texture to the touch, just kind of like there if you look at it from an angle. The ergonomics are fine. The hand wraps around the handle nicely, and while it isn't a large handle, it's decent for a light use everyday carry, or in a safe where you never touch it. But again, my hands still, I have plenty of handle for my hands and my fingers. There's a little jimping on the spine near the hole and some minor rounded jimping back by the pocket clip. Of course, the pocket clip is reversible from the left to the right side, but it's only tip-up carry, and it's that wire one like on my Sage 5 and I think some of the Manix models. Detent is solid. Is that the right adjective for detent? Solid, good, bad, I don't know, strong, weak? It's not really weak, and it's not super strong, but it's not going to open in your pocket. Not that that happens to me. But you can't flick it open by shaking it like this. See, look, do. All right, let's wrap it up. I'll say I'm a little underwhelmed by this one. I don't hate it. It's nice and lightweight. It's nice looking. It's got a really smooth deployment, but that lock disengagement needs some serious refinement. Now, I don't know if all the Positrons are like this, but I did look at some of the reviews. I think it was on Knife Center, and there were other people complaining about the locking mechanism. You shouldn't have to fiddle with it to close it on a knife like this. I mean, not every knife in the world can be perfect. Not everyone can have perfect lock disengagement or perfect deployment or perfect skin or perfect hair or perfect knife review skills. But this is kind of expensive and it's relatively flashy, so you'd expect it to have a smooth of lock disengagement as it has a deployment. But yeah, it's awkward. Awkward like how I said goodnight to my senior prom date. True story. You're like, that wasn't a story. It was a one-liner. So while I didn't hate it, after test driving it, maybe it's just made for collectors. If you like this review, subscribe to my channel, like this video, follow me on Instagram, and leave a comment. Is the regular Positron any better than this one, or is the lock the same? Leave a comment. Thanks to a member of the Best Spyderco group on Facebook for loaning me this knife for review. who also told me not to abuse it, and I heeded his wishes. Check it out by following a link in the description. Thanks for watching.